Hello and welcome to part 2 of the quick tutorial for the TFDi MD-11 on our short flight from Vienna to Munich. If you've watched the first video, we are now ready for takeoff and we are already lined up on runway 29 in Vienna. So I'm applying the brakes now. Just to go through the phases of the takeoff quickly, I'm on the brakes now. I'm applying full brakes and I'm going to throttle up the engines. But before I do that, I press auto flight and take a look at this information here on the primary flight display. Oh, sorry, here on the right. It says takeoff. The rectangle went away and it says takeoff clamp and profile armed. So this tells us that the auto thrust is now armed. I'm going to advance the throttles up to around 60 or 70, and I think it's 70 and 1, where the auto thrust takes over. You will clearly see that now on the primary flight display. I'm also going to apply a little bit of downforce on the elevators, just to keep the nose wheel effective during takeoff. At 80 to 100 knots, I'm going to release that, because the rudder is becoming active then. That's basically all you have to do. Keep the center line, and when VR turns up, that's your rotate speed, where you should take off. Just do a gentle pull on the elevator, not to be too quick, not to give the aircraft a too high angle of attack, just to avoid a tail strike. Okay, so I'm releasing the brakes. I'm slowly advancing the throttles. See if everything stabilizes correctly. Up to about 70. And you can see as soon as I hit about 70, it tells me takeoff thrust. And so now the takeoff thrust is applied. We are quickly gaining speed. I'm now releasing the downforce. We rotate and I'm slowly pitching it up. Positive rate, gear up. Now, take a look at this crosshair. You should follow it. So I'm going, I'm banking to the left now a little bit, and I won't exceed a pitch angle of 20 degrees. I'm keeping the airplane under that. As soon as it switches to a speed of 250 here, it will have you pitch the aircraft down. So I'm doing that right now. So I'm always trying to follow this crosshair as long as I'm flying manually. I can also apply some trim, because the trim on takeoff will make you pitch up. Now, as you are gaining speed, I will retract the flaps. And I will also retract the slats. When you're coming close to 250, I would recommend to activate the auto flight, because then the airplane will take over. As you can see, it pitches up quite hard, but because I was gaining too much speed, so it tries to reduce some speed. So when you're about 230, 240 knots, activate auto flight and the autopilot takes over. So we will disarm the spoilers now, and we will disarm the auto brakes. The next thing that we should do is, as soon as we go through 10,000 feet or 18,000 feet in America, we will switch off the lights. And also switch off the logo light, depending on the time you are on the time of day you are traveling. I'm sorry, the 18,000 feet with America, that's only for the altimeter standard, because as soon as you go through 10,000 or 18,000 feet, you will pull this for standard, As you can see, I pulled it, but it's already at 2992 because I'm flying with the weather preset of clear skies. But this is an important step if you have to follow ADC instructions, and so because you have to have your altimeter at standard setting. What we're also going to do now is we are increasing the range here, and it gives you, I mean, I can increase it that much that we're basically looking at the whole flight plan, which is a straight line. As I said in the first part of the video, this is just to keep things simple. So as you can see here, it tells us where we will hit the flight level 280. That's our cruising altitude. We are quickly climbing here. That's because we are very light, and the MD-11 is a good climber, so we will be at our cruise altitude in no time. And the one thing we also already see is the hockey stick for the top of descent. The top of descent is a very important point in your flight, because it tells you at that moment, for all the procedures you entered into your FMS, or the way you configure your flight, that is the point where you have to start your descent. If you do not start your descent at that point, you will run into problems, because you will either be too high or too fast or whatever. So we'll have to do a lot of the flight from there on manually, and that's not something we want to do, because in this flight, because we want to keep it as simple as possible. So I will probably cut the video a little bit short here, because it takes some time to basically, for reaching flight level 280, that's our cruise altitude, you won't have to do anything. It just reaches cruise altitude and holds the altitude there. So I think it's it makes sense to skip to the top of descent. Okay, so now you can see the hockey stick of the top of descent slowly creeping up to us. I'm going to decrease the range now a little bit. We have to reset the altitude now. I'm gonna set it to 3000, which is already in preparation for the landing, and then I'm going to press profile. And it tells us profile to 3000. And as soon as we hit the hockey stick, vertical alert, profile to 3000, and we are beginning our descent. Okay. So the only thing that we still have to do in this part of the video is enter the approach information, which we'll do on the FMS. We are pressing takeoff approach, and we don't have to do much here. We just have to tell the airplane, do we want to land with 35 flaps or 50 flaps, which is full flaps. If you click on this, take a look at the approach speed. It changes. So we have a little slower approach speed with a full flap landing than a 35 flap landing. I will do a 50 flap landing for now. Select this, so this is active now. Yeah, and this concludes part 2 of this tutorial video, and we will see, or hopefully see, each other again in the last part of this video, part number 3, which will contain the approach and the landing. And until then, I wish you happy landings.